Hey, welcome to MAWS Talks Wrestling. I am your co-host, Lunakage,
And I am Glenburg.
and we got kind of a big show, I guess you could say. We actually did it on time this time.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Raw, and then we got the upcoming Royal Rumble this Sunday. So that's gonna be something. The
It will.
road to WrestleMania officially starts.
The best season of WWE.
Yep, that 3 months, and then like a couple days afterwards, the WWE is at its hottest.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the first thing we wanted to go into today on episode 3 was one of the obvious, most anticipated returns. The return of Batista.
Yeah, I mean, Batista coming back was cool. Like, I didn't necessarily miss him
Mm-hmm.
because, like, he's a big dude. He's not really my cup of tea, but like, he's got the intensity and shit, and the fans loved it, so that was cool.
Yeah.
What I found was interesting was that during this whole thing, like, before he came out, we had Triple H and Stephanie basically just, talking shit to Randy Orton. Like, what are they doing? I don't understand. Are they supposed to be heels? Because now it's like they brought back Brock Lesnar, I guess, but they didn't really talk about him too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring back Batista, who, for now at least, is a babyface. And then, like, ever since Randy versus John Cena was announced for TLC, they've just kind of been shitting on Randy. So is this building to anything bigger, or are they trying to actually be unbiased for some reason, which I don't really understand?
I feel like they're being a neutral authority, like, if that even is such a thing. It's like they're neither face or heel.
Right.
Yeah. It's like they'll say they support Randy being the face, but then they'll talk crap to him just to let him know that we're not going to let you run all over us just because, they're not going to be the type of authorities where they're screwing over everybody in the locker room so the belt stays on Randy. They're kind of giving people a fair shot.
I just don't understand what it does for anybody, though.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me because they appointed Brad Maddox and Kane, at least for now, are obviously heels.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually support their decisions while, telling them off about it.
Uh-huh.
But whenever they're actually on screen themselves, they're like, they're still acting like heels, just acting like heels toward other heels. So I'm just not understanding where it's coming from. I don't know what they're trying to build to, and maybe it'll start clearing itself up soon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of confuses me a little bit.
It's the best for business era. So.
Right. And I mean, especially with some of the rumored matches that, might be happening at WrestleMania. I mean, I guess 3 months 3 months is a long time in wrestling, but like, I don't know, I got to start seeing something from them to actually start caring about them being on screen. And because right now I don't really want Triple H to get his ass kicked like I'm supposed to,
Right.
Like they started off as really strong heels, with Stephanie being a complete and total bitch, Triple H being a big douchebag, but now they're just kind of there, not really doing anything special.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of like, they just kind of shoot a promo, but they're not really making the direct decisions all the time. Well, I guess they're starting to let Brad Maddox, because I remember when he first became general manager, he was overshadowed like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he still doesn't even do anything for me. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't do super heel things.
He's the new Teddy Long. He put people in tag team matches and stuff.
I mean, I guess you could say that because when he when he was like trying to sabotage Daniel Bryan before even the SummerSlam match against Cena, he was a lot more active, but now he's just a guy that makes matches. It's really all it is now.
Right.
And he doesn't even make like matches that. Well, I guess once that I can remember, he made a match that favored the heels. The little battle royal or whatever it was called, gauntlet match, I think, between Bryan and the three Wyatts, one at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like Kane's been the one making the heel matches. Like he made the Bryan versus three Wyatt handicap match. It's what was it, TLC? That was that?
TLC.
Yeah, it was TLC. And he also made the Punk versus Shield match, handicap match, TLC.
Mm-hmm.
But Brad Maddox is just trying to be, like he's competing with the SmackDown general manager, like in the days of the brand split.
Right.
Like
Eric
I want to make a good match.
Right.
So yeah, I don't really know. Randy's kind of hard to get behind as a heel right now because he's being told off by the people who pretty much gave him his title.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I guess in some sense you see how he comes off like an asshole to them, like he's kind of selfish sometimes, like you're not treating the face with the perfect respect, So I guess in a way they're trying to defend themselves, like oh no, Lord Randy, we're sorry, we're gonna make it up to you. They're not doing that because it's still like Triple H at the end of the day. He doesn't want nobody talking back to him like that, probably. And they have egos, so
yeah, but like it's just what's it for? Are they building to a face turn again? Even though both
I can see how it looks confusing. It's just
what do you get when you have two heels feuding with each other when they both turned heel at the same time?
It's like, are they gonna help Randy one minute, help Randy the next? I see what you're saying, but
yeah. Like I could see if like the Authority was around longer than Randy was heel and they were teasing at like an Authority face turn or something, but right now it's just two heels that are essentially in the same faction that just recently turned heel, just kind of shit talking each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of waiting for it to be a ruse, honestly, but something I'm kind of worried about, and this goes back to Batista returning.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's got his eyes on the WWE Championship, but what it kind of reminded me of is that there's no guarantee that Randy's not going to make it to WrestleMania as the champion. And what I really do not want to see is in the main event for the title, Randy Orton versus Batista.
An Evolution WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, and I would actually like it if it was Randy versus Batista at WrestleMania. Just not in the main event, the last match for the title. Like that. It seems like there'd be a lot more that you can do for a lot more meaningful main event than that. But
yeah, at WrestleMania, considering,
yeah, like the grandest stage of them all for the greatest prize. The top match of the night. Like it doesn't gel with me, and it wouldn't exactly be an exciting technical masterpiece either. It would just be Randy getting his ass kicked most of the time, getting some comebacks, and Batista's just a brawler power guy, so he's going to be throwing out nothing but a bunch of clotheslines and Batista style.
You got to hit the signature 5 moves of doom after he finally regains the momentum.
Yeah, every wrestler's got their 5 moves of doom, but I just don't see that match being WrestleMania main event caliber, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
would I want to see the match in general? Sure, just not under those stipulations.
And not the final WrestleMania match, the headliner. Yeah. What was I gonna say? So something that I thought about last time, how Bryan is facing Wyatt, Bray Wyatt. So I guess he's not gonna be in the Rumble then because he's fighting against Bray Wyatt.
I mean, the way they worded it, it kind of makes it seem like that, but you know, there's no guarantee that he won't be in the Rumble. But yeah, the way he worded it kind of made it sound like he wasn't going to be in the Rumble. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if I were going to play fantasy booking, like I could, and by fantasy booking in this situation I mean like really out there, like no chance it'll happen, but you never fucking know kind of booking.
Right, like the last minute.
Yeah, he made a point of saying that both Luke Harper and fucking Luke Harper,
Eric Rowan.
Yeah, it was Rowan, but not Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, both of the Rumble. So that means that that leaves Bray Wyatt for him. So that would imply that just because they're in the Rumble, they won't be helping Bray Wyatt before the Rumble. You know, that doesn't necessarily.
Like you really need to do world preparations to fight in the Rumble.
Right. I mean, technically, kayfabe-wise, you do, but if you're not in the match and you're just there to beat somebody up when the ref's not looking, you know, you could still do that. But I don't know, like it. You know, there's still a chance that he's in there, and just said that for specific reasons. Like maybe those 2 weeks that he was with the Wyatt family, he actually turned over Luke and Eric to his side. But I mean, that would just kind of that would be weird, and I wouldn't understand how that would work. Like he turns heel again at the Rumble by having those two guys knock everyone out for him. You know, like I don't know. Could it happen? Sure. Would I want to see it? No.
I think they kind of burn their bridges with the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt. I mean Wyatt family thing, because they basically set it up like Daniel Bryan did it to be slick to get at Bray Wyatt's head, you know, and that's so he can get a direct confrontation and not just I have to go through these two guys to get through you every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the Rumble goes, and this kind of brings us to our next subject a little bit. CM Punk was announced to be the number one entrant of the Royal Rumble.
Number one.
Yeah, which, if you'll remember, is the spot that they normally put the guys that, you know, that win when they want to show that they're hot shit, you know? Like, they always bring up that the number one entrant has won just as many times as the number 30 entrant has. So even if CM Punk loses, you know, I'm sure he's going to be in there for a long time. Like, potentially final two. Because, like, the way I see it, if they go through the big deal of announcing Punk, one of the top three guys, as far as popularity, I guess you could say, goes.
Right.
If they bother actually announcing that he's going to be the number one guy, the first guy in the match, it usually means that he's going to be pushed really hard in that match. He could win it, which would be awesome. I would love him to win it and get his main event. I'd rather it not be against Randy Orton, but, you know, I mean, I'd rather it be in the main event, because I'm sure, and actually, now that I think about it, have we ever seen CM Punk versus Randy Orton?
I think it's happened before. Has it?
I mean, I'm sure it's happened at some point, but I don't recall ever seeing one-on-one CM Punk versus Randy Orton after CM Punk was considered a main eventer.
So yeah, maybe when it was like earlier career, like when CM Punk first got to WWE or something,
or somewhere along those lines. But I don't remember in recent memory, at least.
Yeah, because I don't recall him ever fighting him when he was WWE champion, when Punk was champion.
Because he was on SmackDown. They were still
they still had title splits.
When Cena was, I mean, not Cena, when that made me feel hella bad. I just called Punk Cena. In my defense, I have a video up that says John Cena on it, so I'm going to click away from that right now.
Oh, man.
Anyway, when Punk was WWE champion, Randy Orton was on SmackDown going for the world title. So, yeah, I guess that might be it. They were kind of away from each other most of the time. But making that match meaningful within 3 months might be a little bit more difficult.
Especially when they have nothing to really bring them together in the first place outside of just being a contender.
Right. Like, I don't really see how Randy Orton fits in, because he's really just kind of being booked as this pissant right now.
Yeah, and the only person he really has beef with at the moment is Cena, like not even Lesnar yet. Lesnar is just something, a different problem, same as Batista.
And you know what? What this, like, here's some more fantasy what-if booking here. And I'm not a booker, so if you don't like my booking, that's fine. I'm not getting paid for it. But anyway, you know, the altercation, I guess you could call it that, between Batista and Randy Orton, you know, it was obviously over the title. But what if, like, I said I was worried that Randy might make it to WrestleMania. What if he doesn't even make it to Extreme Rules as the WWE champion? What if he actually loses to John Cena this Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're kind of booking him as this dude who...
Oh, you meant Elimination Chamber, right?
No, what if he loses at Royal Rumble this Sunday to John Cena? John Cena beats him, becomes the second ever 16-time World Heavyweight Champion. But, you know, that's besides the point. And Randy Orton, as we've seen, he's been having, you know, these kind of mental breakdowns lately. So that loss could lead to him getting really pissed off. And I know I said last week that Alberto Del Rio might be the guy that causes Batista to get eliminated if he gets eliminated. But what if Randy Orton comes in, he's not even in the Rumble, and, you know, because he's pissed off, and he eliminates Batista, and that way we could still get our Batista versus Randy Orton WrestleMania match, but it wouldn't be for the title, you know, like, just possibilities, because honestly, I don't, and I understand people that say he's going to, but I really kind of don't see Batista winning the Royal Rumble. I'm sure he's going to come in there and, like, kick a bunch of people's asses. Obviously, he's Batista. But I think it's more likely that he's going to come in there, throw a bunch of people over, and, you know, he's going to come face-to-face with Roman Reigns, and there's going to be this big, like, oh, my God, it's Roman Reigns and Batista. They're both huge and shit. and, you know, they're going to fight each other. And maybe Batista's the one to eliminate Reigns, you know, because I'm sure Reigns is going to throw a lot of people over. But, you know, it might come down to maybe Batista even makes it to the final two. Maybe the final two ends up being CM Punk and Batista, and then Randy Orton comes in and fucks it up for Batista.
Right.
CM Punk gets his win, and Batista gets really pissed off at Randy Orton. And even more so, I think, like getting forced out of the Rumble, screwed out at any point would be frustrating. But if you're the final two and somebody who's not even in the match fucks you over, you know, that's gotta piss you off.
Yeah, that jeopardized your chances at even getting to WrestleMania in the main event.
Right. But yeah, like, obviously it's all speculation. I like theory fighting more than anything else in the world. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have so many scenarios at any given time, at any given minute. So just kind of, you know, preparing people out there for the worst, because if I have an idea, I'll say it, even if I think it's stupid at the time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I know in the past the Rumble winners have been hyped up enough if they were going to win.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I haven't seen a lot of Rumbles, but I do know that, you know, I don't think it's very common for a Rumble winner to be one of those guys that didn't get any hype going into the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I can't even name examples or anything, but you know, like the Royal Rumble's a big deal. And for example, you know, this past Royal Rumble build-up, two of the guys that are in the Royal Rumble are the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, who thinks that one of them is going to win? Nobody.
Right.
Not anybody. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that those two are going over the ropes. And that's kind of what I mean. Like, they haven't been hyped up to be in the Rumble. You know, not that they would, because they're just a tag team and everything, but, you know, that's just my point. You know, you got to have some kind of hype, usually hype about being in the Rumble in order to win it. So, like, that would mean that our two biggest possible winners, as far as just hype goes, would be CM Punk and Batista, because those are the two guys that have received, you know, the most Royal Rumble attention, I guess you could say. And CM Punk didn't get much. You know, he didn't get a whole lot. He only got, like, I think 2 segments where they were just kind of like passing, you know, like the one where Kane told him he was going to be in the Rumble, and then the one the week after where he said he was going to be a number 1 spot, you know. But, you know, that's still like saying, hey, you're in the Rumble and it's a big deal because you're CM Punk kind of thing.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I wonder which spot Batista has in the Rumble. Like, I wouldn't be too surprised if he had like 27 or 30, to be honest.
Yeah, he might get a little bit of a later spot. I don't know if Batista would want to go a full fucking hour in order to, you know, like be the number 2 spot.
Yeah, just coming back, I'm sure he has some sort of ring rust.
I'm pretty sure he's going to come in a little later when there's still a bunch of dudes in the ring, and he's going to just show up and throw like 5 guys over the ropes immediately and just be like, oh, Batista's a beast. The Beasta Batista. Babista.
Babista.
You know, just shit like that. Michael Cole thinks up. Vintage Batista. Vintage Royal Rumble match.
Hashtag Batista's back.
Hashtag.
Oh my god.
Right? Hashtag's now trending worldwide.
Man, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, that I mean, I'm excited for this Rumble. Like I've never been this excited for a Royal Rumble. Honestly, last year's Rumble, I was fucking depressed. Like I didn't want anything to do with last year's Rumble because.
Let me see. That was Cena that won it last year.
Cena did win it.
Yeah.
But it was because, you know, with The Rock and everything, this storyline
kind of gave it away.
Oh yeah. There was like no question marks going into it. It was like The Rock's gonna beat my favorite wrestler, the best in the world, CM Punk, and end his streak, or not streak, end his reign at the Royal Rumble. And I knew that going in. I still watched it, but I knew that going in.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I didn't want that. I understood why they did it, but I didn't want that.
I wonder how wrestlers must feel when they know that they're going to be booked to lose a match like that. Like, you got to lose to The Rock. He hasn't been back in a while.
Yeah.
He's going to be here till WrestleMania, but yeah, you got to give up the title.
I know it varies from person to person because, you know, like some people take it way too seriously because it doesn't matter who you are in the business. It's still, you know, scripted, choreographed outcomes and finishes and stuff. So, you know, like CM Punk was a heel at the time.
Right.
So he was supposed to be a shithead. But that Royal Rumble actually kicked off his face turn because of his loss to The Rock, and then like he goes to face The Undertaker, and then he loses to The Undertaker, and then he finally comes back and he's just like, man, things kind of suck right now, you know, stuff like that. And he just started being a face again. And you know what's fucked up? It's so weird because and like I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but the new WWE Championship design,
Yeah.
that's already a year old.
Man, that's time flies. Year old.
Yeah, because it was well, it's almost a year old. I think he still had
Oh yeah, because he debuted it right before WrestleMania.
either right before WrestleMania or
No, I think it was after.
because obviously he had to win it first, which was last year's Royal Rumble.
He either did it
But-
the week after he won it from the pay-per-view, or I know he did it soon after.
All I know is the fucking design is almost a year old. Time goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little off topic here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still kind of rooting for Punk for the Royal Rumble, especially if Daniel Bryan's not going to be in it. I think Daniel Bryan deserves it the most right now. Like he could use it the most. But I don't know. I still want CM Punk in that main event. You know, just personally, for me.
Wonder if there's going to be a wild card, like a third person who, like you said, hasn't received any hype going into the Rumble, but somebody who seems like they'd be a solid contender.
I mean, maybe. Like they got to have something to do with the Elimination Chamber match now, because I don't think it's always going to be for the championship like it was before. You know, you'd have two Elimination Chamber matches in the same night, and
Right.
they'd each be for one of the respective world titles.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do it last year, at least for the WWE title. I don't
Right.
think. No, they didn't, because you know CM Punk and The Rock still had their rematch, and now they only got one title. You know, so I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. It's too early to tell that, but maybe it's for a number one contender shot. Maybe it's another Money in the Bank kind of thing. You know, it's like the guy who wins forces himself in the WrestleMania main event. It's a triple threat match now. You know, I don't know. Maybe not. Like they've only had, I think, one triple threat in the history of WrestleMania main events, and that was the one that never happened.
Oh yeah, Benoit.
Yep. It was Triple H defending his title against Shawn Michaels, and at the end, Triple H tapped out in the center of the ring for nobody, and then dropped the title. And then they
For nobody.
couldn't find it. They couldn't find it for months. Couldn't find it for months. Then eventually Randy Orton found it in the middle of a SummerSlam ring. Became the youngest world heavyweight champion.
First come, first serve.
Right. I mean, like, he deserved it. He found it. He found it fair and square.
Oh man. Man. That's too hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because in retrospect, I know we're rambling a lot here, but we kind of have the room to do that. We don't have to talk about TNA this time.
Yeah.
In retrospect, both of Benoit's world title wins don't exist anymore.
Until the WWE Network.
No, I mean, like, they just don't, they don't mean anything anymore, because the WCW title he won, he dropped it the next night just so he could go to WWF. And now the world title he won doesn't matter because he killed his family and then himself. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird, because he was my favorite wrestler before all that shit happened.
Technician. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, he was crazy. That's why I liked him so much.
Yeah, he was awesome.
So, yeah, but I mean, enough about that. It's a bad taste in my mouth still. So,
Yeah.
luckily CM Punk brought me back because he's freaking amazing, and now I want him to be the best in the world, like he is.
Best in the world at number one.
Right. So yeah, I'm hoping, getting back on track here. Hoping he wins the Rumble. He might not, but after being announced being the number one spot, I actually got more hope for him winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to what's going to happen, man, because it's a good time it's a good time this year. Like I'm happy about the potential road to WrestleMania. We got
Lots of outcomes, whether
yeah.
someone wins or loses. I'm pretty sure WWE will have a clever way of, bringing something together.
I hope so. Like they've made bad decisions before, but I mean, if you remember, they did like a similar thing to Daniel Bryan, at least with Punk, back before Punk had his 434-day reign. He he won the title at SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, Money in the Bank. Then left, like he said he was going to.
Mm-hmm.
Then came back, and then beat Cena in a unification match. But then Del Rio came out with Money in the Bank and took it from him. After that, he was fucking, having little feuds and shit. I think that's when that was when the Triple H and Kevin Nash thing was going on, and he lost to Triple H at a pay-per-view, and everyone was like, "Oh man, CM Punk, he was the hottest guy, and now he's being buried with Triple H's, shovel and shit."
The shovel of Triple H.
And that's what it seemed like, but then suddenly he fucking wins that shit back at Survivor Series, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And he goes on to hold it for 434 days. Maybe they're, doing that similar thing with Bryan, like he won the title twice already, so he won 2 title matches, but he was, stripped at both of them for whatever reason. Now he's kind of toiling away, being the hottest guy right now, but he's still kind of in what I call the mid-card main event.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's going to win it soon, and he'll have a nice long title reign. Maybe not as long as 434, but at least 3 months at least.
Right.
So I don't ever count out WWE for like long, because for as much as they screw up, they also hit the nail on the head a lot of times. So I'm sure at some point Daniel Bryan is going to have a title reign that's actually meaningful.
I mean, look at his reception from the WWE universe. Like, if you can get a crowd to go along with what you're doing, then yeah, you're doing something right. He has everyone in that building saying yes and pointing their finger up.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And
there's not too many people that can do stuff like that. Because I mean, of course, The Rock, especially back then when he was so confident enough, he can say stuff like the millions, and then the people actually say millions, like they wouldn't be quiet.
Like I almost kind of want to see Daniel Bryan like get a little bit more creative with that, because right now, he just got the yes and no chance, which is cool and it's his own little thing, but it just proves that he's got that similar level of crazy control over the fans. Like when The Rock did it, he actually used it and manipulated the fans to do whatever the fuck he wanted them to do. So
I feel like Daniel could do that too if he wanted. Like, if he came up with a catchphrase or something, everybody would start chanting it.
Right.
Like how The Rock just came up with boots to asses when he came back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like Daniel Bryan's still not a whole, he's not a big talker. And that's like the dangerous thing. Like he's not like a great talker promo guy, but he's great at being he's a large hand, like big time. Like his run with Kane, like that was that kind of proved how much of a character he could be. And I guess he just and like it works perfect with the yes and no chance, because it's exactly what he is. He's screaming and people are like getting it.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. So we've been talking about the Rumble for a bit, and yeah, since we're on the subject of Daniel Bryan, we might as well transition into his recent confrontation with Bray Wyatt, who they cleverly made it look like Bray Wyatt was like some big genie or messiah when the whole arena was black and he was on the Titantron. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's one of He's like one of the dark characters, but he's a new interpretation of that, and I really like that. I just need to see him in the ring more. He's gotta do more shit.
He has the mic skills. He has the acting skills.
He's got the ring skills too. He's just not using them because his old stuff as Husky Harris doesn't really fit his new character.
It does.
So he's kind of got to be a little bit more slow and plotting and calculating and stuff.
Right.
So he's going to be a little bit more of a mind game kind of guy. So he could easily, start wrestling a similar style to like Triple H, Triple H, the student of the game kind of thing, technical wrestling.
Yeah.
So I can see him being that. He doesn't have to be a straight up brawler, but like a brawler / technical wrestler. I could definitely see Bray Wyatt fitting in really nicely with that style. And this character could be a character that lasts a long time, as long as they don't just completely screw it up.
Like not one of those temporary, he phases out at the end of the WrestleMania season or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for example, The Undertaker and Kane. It's amazing that those two gimmicks have lasted as long as they did.
Through generations too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, could Bray Wyatt last that long? Maybe. And I say that because of the presentation. The presentation is great.
Right.
And back in the day when Taker was first around, like you got to remember if the Undertaker character debuted in 2014, I don't think it would get the same reaction as it would back in those days, because a zombie character.
Yeah, back then it was like all spooky. You had stuff like the Addams Family and all that type of shit. I don't know,
Yeah. But I mean, the presentation of the Bray Wyatt character, due to his mic skills and the way he could just do it, I think the real test is going to be how he'll work as a face.
Right, maintaining the same character.
Yeah. And that was the thing. The Undertaker and Kane, they never really had to change how they acted when they were different alignments. They just had to change who they beat up.
Yeah, he can still be considered the Undertaker and people still love him. Even though that implies he's a heel character.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the Bray Wyatt character develop and hopefully prosper. Yeah,
as long as he doesn't lose touch of his mic skills and he constantly improves in the ring, he should be fine.
And that actually brings me to another subject I was thinking about earlier today. With Undertaker getting ready to retire soon, I mean, people are thinking that WrestleMania 30 might be his last match, but they also thought that for WrestleMania 29 and 28, 27. But when Undertaker finally wrestles his last match, Undertaker's going to be gone. And then when Kane's gone, Kane will be gone. I'm sure he doesn't have a whole lot of time left. He's getting pretty old. So when that happens, there's not going to be any more of those like dark characters. And I think it'll really be when Bray Wyatt can kind of be that kind of replacement, because he's a dark character, one of those kind of dark monster types. He's not a 7 foot tall, 300 pound behemoth, but he's like a mankind.
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing is, WWE has been trying those dark characters in the past too. Like, I remember when they tried the Boogeyman and Mordecai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those didn't quite go as far as they wanted. But
fucking Mordecai, man.
He seemed like an interesting character, but then he lost to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, he did not last long at all.
Yeah. I remember he was pissed when he lost to Rey Mysterio, because He kind of was one of those characters that seemed like he was talking big. He finally got in a match, got blown up, boom.
Right. And then they tried a few, like that vampire character. I forget his name.
Yeah, from when he was in the new ECW.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Thorne.
Yeah, Kevin Thorne.
Yeah.
He didn't get very far, but the big reason is those guys kind of sucked a little bit, and like I just mean
a little bit.
Their believability was something that kind of sucked. Like I said, it was like trying to debut the Undertaker again.
Right.
You couldn't do that. Mordecai was basically the white Undertaker, except he wasn't as good at it. He came out like with priests or something. I forget. It was so long ago.
Yeah, it was funny. One of my friends was joking with me the other day, like saying, "What if like Undertaker passed along his powers to like a new Undertaker, like a younger person? Like there was actually a ceremony where like you have the mist and the music and everything.
Yeah.
And then like when the lights turn back on or whatever, all Undertaker's outfit and powers are transferred to the new guy, and like Undertaker is just regular ass Mark."
He walks out. He's got his red hair back. He's like, "Sweet, I can go ride my bike again."
Gets on a bike.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about because those two have been around for so long that it's really weird to think of a WWE without those characters.
They're really iconic and they're part of the history.
And in TNA, Abyss filled that role. Like he was a little weirder. He was a little bit more able to be controlled than Undertaker and Kane, but he still kind of filled that role. He was that psychotic, almost supernatural monster that no one wanted to fight. Even in like he was like unbeatable, even though we saw him get beat plenty of times. That never changed the fact that people were terrified of him.
He's a good character for that role. I agree.
Like, it almost feels like every federation should have one, and the thought of losing the two defining characters of the role is, it's a little worrisome. I mean, do we need to have those characters? I guess not. But it's just the kind of thing that you get so used to that when it comes a time where it's not going to be around, it's a little weird.
That's true. Yeah, they're part of WWE's rich history, so you still need some type of force like that even in modern day. Because I guess the good thing about those characters were they weren't overly gimmicky, but they gave the brand and the company a little bit more personality.
I'm pretty sure they were overly gimmicky.
Yeah. Not like Doink the Clown or some shit.
I mean, it actually was. It was exactly like that. But Doink the Clown, though, he was a clown.
Right.
That doesn't exactly have the staying power as fucking a big red monster or fucking whatever the hell you want to call Undertaker.
Dead man walking.
Right. But it's just the presence that they had. Doink the Clown was never the kind of presence that Undertaker and Kane were. And even Kane as his neutered director of operations or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
I forget what his title is. But even he's still intimidating, like now he's just a big dude who's smart.
Big smart dude in the suit.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out too that every backstage segment he's in, he's got the mask chilling in the back, like in a case.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this is going to be the end of Masked Kane. I think we're going to see the mask on again when Kane finally breaks off.
Mask on, mask off.
Right. I mean, now that we've seen him with his mask off, already, for I think it might have even been longer than he had the mask on originally. I can't exactly remember, but you know, now that we've seen him both with the mask on and with the mask off, there's no more mystery. You know, now the mask can just be a part of his ring attire. You know, like it's no longer, you know, oh, what's he look like underneath? We know what he looks like underneath.
Yeah. Good
Now
old
he's just
days when we wanted to see everybody unmasked. Rey Mysterio, Kane.
right. But yeah, it's. Let's see. I know we got far off topic this time.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't even remember.
I
Oh yeah,
guess
we were talking about
because
Bray Wyatt.
because it started to go down a path of monsters and
Right.
dark gimmicks. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan at Royal Rumble. Uh, what do you think is going to be the outcome?
Hmm. If I feel like Bray Wyatt has to win to keep the character interesting. I mean, I wonder how many times can you lose and still stay interesting as a character,
Right.
especially when WWE puts a lot of energy into you too.
Right. They're in an interesting situation right now because both of these characters can't really afford to lose. Bray Wyatt, you know, he hasn't had many one-on-one matches. He beat Kane. I think that's it. Like as far as big matches, you know, that was at a pay-per-view. You know, I'm pretty sure he fought a bunch of jobbers and stuff too. Like, and either that or he just had his lackeys do it. I can't exactly remember, but they can't really have him lose right now. But and this idea just kind of came into my mind. Here goes one of these ideas. If Bray Wyatt were to win, and let him win cleanly over Daniel Bryan, like not even a screw job finish or like interference, just have him win clean against Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Then, you know, Daniel Bryan lost clean. You know, normally that'd be kind of bad. You know, the crowd probably would be, you know, not as into it. But then he shows up in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. And then manages to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, suddenly, Bray Wyatt, he won his match, so he didn't, you know, lose any momentum. And then Daniel Bryan, despite losing to Bray Wyatt, wins the Royal Rumble, so now he doesn't look bad either. You know, it's probably the best way that they can go with the two, because it's not like CM Punk. Like, CM Punk can afford to lose. He's been well established. He's up there. Like, you can't really, I can't see him in the mid card anymore. Like, you know, true mid card with Kofi and Miz and shit.
Yeah, they're way beyond that now.
Yeah. But Daniel Bryan, despite how over with the fans he is, you know, if he starts losing everywhere and then the fans start thinking that, you know, he's never going to do anything anymore, then they'll start probably getting a little bored and then not be into him as much. So they can't really
kind of start saying no.
Yeah. But yeah, they can't really let Bray Wyatt lose a lot either, or else because he hasn't established himself yet, you know. So,
what was I gonna say? Yeah, because when I'm thinking about the situation, do you think the Royal Rumble is really an appropriate place to settle the score with them too?
I mean, Royal Rumble is one of the big four, you know. So like it's a good place because it's the start of the road to WrestleMania. So
True.
If they want Daniel Bryan to be involved with an important storyline, they pretty much have to end that here so that he can start fresh with a new storyline and like have those 3 months of build up, or 2 months at that point, I believe. Yeah, 2 months of build up for WrestleMania. Unless they want to go Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt again, you know, like I don't know.
I mean, I have to see some sort of closure. Like, Bray Wyatt, is he still gonna want to be involved with Daniel Bryan after he defeats him? Because that's mainly his obsession at the moment with the storyline. It's Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll be maybe they'll be in the chamber match. Those two at 4 other guys. You know, that's not exactly the greatest way to blow off a feud, but you know,
right.
I don't know. Like at this point, who are they going to put in the chamber match?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be 2 or 3 top guys with 3 guys that have no business being in there.
Hi, Spotsman.
Right. Kofi Kingston, who technically, if we're going to follow certain past rules, Kofi Kingston should technically be the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight title now.
He actually has to fight Brock Lesnar. That'd be funny as hell.
I mean, he beat Randy Orton cleanly. You know,
he
pinned the champion.
My client, the Beast Incarnate.
Oh yeah,
to prove himself.
Fucking Brock Lesnar versus the Big Show. What do you think's gonna happen? Royal Rumble.
Well, you know how these situations always go. They have the face wrestler look like they're one up in the hill every week up until the pay-per-view, and then they lose to the hill at the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah. Brock Lesnar's winning.
Yeah, because I mean, he throws them around like a rag doll weekly, but you know at the pay-per-view, Brock's gonna win. That's,
right.
Yeah, Brock isn't a chump like that, so.
Yeah. See here.
Yeah, but I mean, Big Show is pretty much just going to be a filler before Brock gets into the title picture, because they weren't just going to have him, you know, walk into WWE, prounce up in there, and say, "I'm ready for my spotlight."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Assuming Brock Lesnar does not win the championship before WrestleMania, what do you think he's going to be doing?
I've heard things like feuding with Batista, which would be really interesting if that would even happen. It'd be 2 big guys again, but...
Yeah, remember what happened 10 years ago at WrestleMania 20?
I think about the same crap every time. Goldberg and Lesnar.
Yeah.
That was a travesty.
Yeah.
Like, well, do you remember, like, did they just not have motivation because they were both leaving at the time, and that's why they didn't fight that well?
I mean, if you go back and watch that match with the volume off, other than the start where neither of them wanted to touch each other, everything after that wasn't bad. But the fans just weren't having it, and a crowd can make or break a match.
Oh, they'll point this shit out right away. Boring.
Yeah. Those fans really shit on that match hard.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take that match seriously while watching it because the fans are going in so hard.
Yeah.
But honestly, after they finally start, you know, locking up and going at it, the match wasn't that bad. It was like 2 big guys. It was exactly what you would expect. You know, like they both kicked out of each other's finishers once, and you know, like it wasn't super bad. But you watch it with the volume on, and the fans are shitting on it, that you can't enjoy it as much.
That's true.
Like, you could have the best match ever going on, but if the fans are sitting on their fucking hands and, you know, doing boring chants and shit, you're probably not going to enjoy the experience as much.
Oh yeah.
Like that's actually one reason why a lot of TNA matches aren't as enjoyable nowadays, because the crowd doesn't give a shit.
Well,
you know?
I guess they don't have anything interesting to go into it. Like, these can be 2 of the best wrestlers in the world fighting each other, but I guess if they just throw them in a ring together with a generic storyline, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that Impact doesn't really have too many fans, like, in the building at any one time either, so...
Empty stadiums.
Right.
Front row tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's 5 people doing yes chants and shit, like, you know?
Everybody else figuring out, what the hell? They just gave me these tickets for free.
Right, pretty much.
What are they saying yes for?
So yeah, pretty sure Brock's going over. Like I don't think Big Show would win. I don't know why he would win. They're just giving Brock something to do for the Royal Rumble, I guess.
Yeah, a big obstacle.
Right.
No pun intended.
What else do we got?
Let me see.
I guess we should get this out of the way. Not that it's a thing that should be gotten out of the way or anything, but Mae Young passed away.
Yeah.
And that really sucks. I didn't I'm a younger guy, so I never watched her, early stuff when she was actually a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
She was always just one of those two crazy ladies that would just flirt with the wrestlers and shit, and just make out with them. It was always weird, but it always kind of sucks when you see somebody that old. You think that they're immortal at that point.
Yeah, she made it really far too.
Yeah.
And the thing I liked is, I obviously wasn't around to really enjoy her as a wrestler, but WWE always kept her within the company. They didn't just forget about her. Even if she was doing a little promo for it to be funny, she was always part of the WWE family.
And that kind of proves that WWE's retirement plan.
Yeah.
Right. It's great. It's get to be on TV, once every couple of months, make a big ass paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool knowing that someone that old in the WWE history, could still be around and serve some kind of a purpose.
And actually get cheers and.
Oh yeah, the fact that even the younger kids knew who she was, granted not for the same reasons, but knew who she was. That says a lot. That's kind of cool. For an older person of any kind of occupation to actually be acknowledged by a younger crowd.
Yeah, I'm sure she was humbled by that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she will be missed and as a very important part of WWE history and wrestling history altogether.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Prayers. We have her in our prayers, and she's in a better place now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you believe in that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
She's in wrestling heaven.
Wrestling heaven. There you go. That's a promotion. Wrestling heaven. Where they got Eddie Guerrero, and a bunch of other people. Yeah.
Yep. She's right up there with Hulk Hogan's career.
Right. Yeah.
And about 15 of Mick Foley's careers too. He kept on coming back.
Yeah, the one career when he fell off Hell in a Cell. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So on a lighter note, that transition was probably the best that I could do.
Right. Yeah. Unless we threw up a splash screen.
Right.
Yeah. Not to joke around. Mae Young was great, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't want people to be upset about it. So.
Yeah. And we haven't got to the Outlaws yet.
Oh yeah, they got a title shot on Heat. It's not called Heat, but it's the pre-show now.
That is Heat, basically.
Yeah, it's Heat.
Heat.
Outlaws got a title shot against the Road Brothers. Who do you think's winning?
The Road Brothers, they felt the titles for a while, and they deserve to hold the titles. But I think putting the titles on the Outlaws, especially if WWE wants to keep them around for a while, probably would be a good idea.
Yep.
Because, just to keep them in the picture and storyline. And then if they wanted to do something different with the Rhodes Brothers, I don't know how soon they would try to Goldust and Cody would have a rivalry, but
I'm sure. I'm kind of hoping that they fight each other at WrestleMania. For whatever reason, if one of them's heel, one of them's not, doesn't really matter. I think. Well, I guess it kind of matters, but if they're going to get them against each other in time for WrestleMania and actually have a slow burn instead of an abrupt swerve and shit, then it's probably for the best that they get the titles off of them now. So I'm gonna go with the Outlaws.
Yeah. Now here's my question: What do you know? Which kind of contract the Outlaws have right now?
I don't know. I usually don't look into stuff like that. If I hear about it, I hear about it, but
Yeah.
I don't look up that kind of thing.
It is good to see them again. They look like they're still in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
They don't look like they just came back, overweight and a bunch of other crap.
It's kind of hard to believe that they were in TNA like not a super long time ago.
VKM.
Right, yeah.
That was funny as hell.
Voodoo Kin Mafia.
I remember those promos that said, VKM, see you on Impact this Thursday. Like, Vince McMahon was just going to do his famous walk in the Impact zone or something.
Right. Yeah, but I'm guessing that the Outlaws will go over. They'll win the championships. Maybe have a run until WrestleMania, and then they drop them to a tag team there. Maybe we'll finally have a tag team championship match on WrestleMania.
Like maybe even one of those battle royals or something.
Yeah, maybe. We got enough tag teams to do it now.
Yeah, it's improved. I wonder. I know we didn't really think about talking about this, but do you think they're planning on doing Tamina versus AJ pretty soon?
Maybe. I mean, it could happen.
Because I was talking to one of my other friends about that too, and like it's kind of like Tamina's in a position where she is the bodyguard figure, but if she was gonna have like a legitimate time to shine, it probably would be the best way to do so against the champion, who's like the best diva in that division right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to see AJ be a face again pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, her character, I guess, lends itself to a heel, but then again, so does CM Punk.
Yeah.
And I prefer him as a babyface simply because I can't stand it when anybody boos somebody that doesn't deserve to be booed. And I know it's like, it's a whole thing, like, it doesn't matter if they boo or cheer, you're just supposed to get a reaction, but, I don't know. It just kind of rubs me wrong, like when they made Stone Cold heel, it kind of put a sour taste in people's mouths a little bit. So I don't know. I like CM Punk as a heel because I don't stop liking him. I just I prefer him as a babyface, being the underdog, because he is an underdog. I'd rather see him kick people's asses and not have to cheat and be a coward, the typical WWE heel.
Fight like 3 people at once and shit.
Right, yeah, exactly. But yeah, like AJ, I could see her being, because the last time she was babyface, she wasn't wrestling. She was just like a valet at the time. She was just Daniel Bryan's girlfriend.
Right. 18
and then she was still technically a babyface when she was Raw general manager, but she was just starting to be a crazy chick.
Right.
So I want to see her face now. I want to see how she acts as a babyface. That's an actual active wrestler, a former and longest reigning Divas champion.
That means we'd have to have a really convincing heel diva come in.
And that would be Tamina. That would be a perfect heel. But how like, they got to break up, and if they do a breakup, Tamina would probably be the one that ends up being a face, because she probably would get sick of her shit,
That's what I'm saying. If Tamina did break up, she would automatically have to become the face because AJ is the heel champ, unless... yeah.
I mean, there's a way they could do it, but I couldn't think of it in, a minute, like I probably have to sit down and ponder.
Yeah, think about it. Take a second. But yeah, say we pretty much covered everything we wanted to talk about, going from Monday Night Raw to building up to the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. All right. So to recap, our predictions for the Royal Rumble. Just a quick recap from the matches that we know are going to happen. Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan. Who do you think's going over?
Bray Wyatt.
I'm going to assume Bray Wyatt as well.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar versus Big Show.
Brock Lesnar.
Of course. John Cena versus Randy Orton.
That's always an interesting one because, one of them has to fight Lesnar.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If they do that at Elimination Chamber, they might not.
Yeah. I feel like, I have a feeling they'll want to put it on Cena. It wants just to put it on Cena, kind of like how when Jericho had the Undisputed title and Triple H had it, type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna go with Cena personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cena for that one.
Just like he said, first to arrive, last to win. I remember Cena said some catchphrase like that.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, carry on.
Outlaws versus the Rhodes Brothers.
Outlaws.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Outlaws myself. Other than the Rumble match, we missing anything?
You know what? Let me double check. Are there any small feuds? Well, because Batista's in a Rumble, so.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble. Guess this part, just double check. Is the Divas title put on the line?
I don't know, but if it is, with no build-up, I'm pretty sure that AJ's just gonna win. So.
Yeah, it's kind of an anticlimactic.
Yeah. If the Divas are doing anything, just AJ wins. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually got all the matches now that I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, the Rumble match is long, so.
Yeah.
All right, now Rumble match. Who do you think's winning?
I agree with the choices we talked about earlier with Punk being a number one choice. He has a high chance of winning because of how he was hyped up. Batista and a wild card for third, like somebody we probably didn't think about.
Yeah.
But I think Batista and Punk are the safe choices going into the Rumble just because of their positions with them advertising all over the commercials. Right. And Batista being in the Rumble, knocking out people on a commercial, and then CM Punk being number one. So, yeah.
So you're going to go with anybody, or you're just going to go with those two?
I say those two are my best example, but if I'm looking at the list, Roman Reigns probably be a wild card for me then. Yeah,
I mean, I know he's going to go over at some point and be a good babyface, but I don't think he's going to win the Rumble this year.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting him as he'd be the one person kind of out of field that you didn't expect over the two big obvious choices.
Right.
Because it's obvious WWE wants to push him at some point.
Yeah. I'm going to go with CM Punk. Mm-hmm. Like, more so for hoping that he wins. Unless my idea from earlier where, Bray Wyatt wins and then Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble, but I'm just going to go with CM Punk just because he's the best in the world.
Yeah.
And I want to see him have both of those belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like WWE is starting to bring back the caliber of superstars that we can realistically see both belts on.
Yeah. I mean, I know CM Punk's one of those for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see him with both belts.
Yeah. Well, I guess that about covers it.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Don't forget to tune in for Royal Rumble this Sunday.
Like we're being sponsored.
Right.
I guess now is the perfect time for another Lunakage's random statement at the end of the show. I'm going to go with Stacy Keibler.
Stacy Keibler, we need a new insert image now.
Just Stacy Keibler.
That's all.
That's it. Stacy Keibler.
That is all. Legs.
God damn.
Them legs.
Yep. I guess that'll be it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching episode 3. Tune in
Of
for next.
MAWS Talks Wrestling.
All right, guys. Look forward to the next episode post Royal Rumble. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace.